Welcome to Financial Freestyle. I'm Ross Mack, and this is sponsored by Vanguard. Now look, no matter where you are on your financial journey, every success begins with a single step, and you landed at the right spot. In this series, I'm sitting down with some of the most influential minds in finance to explore their paths to economic success. And today is no different. I'm sitting there talking to my guy, my dog, Ian Dunlap, aka the Master Investor. Now, Ian is an investor, co-founder, and CEO of Red Panda Academy, an educational platform dedicated to demystifying the complexities of trading and investing. And my dog,
Brother,
welcome to the show, baby.
happy to be here with you, man. How are you?
Man, I'm good. Y'all don't know, man. Ian is a guy, not just a guy, my guy, but he goes by him. You know what I mean? We both from the Midwest. When we first met, it was nothing but just genuine love and mutual admiration. So I'm honored that you're on the show.
Happy to be here, man. I'm super proud of you, man.
My brother.
Of course.
So look, obviously I know you, but to the world, to the people, who was Ian Dunlap?
A guy from the Midwest who didn't know anything about investing, father. And it's been a joy to educate millions of people about investing when we didn't grow up with it. I think we connected because in the era we grew up in, these conversations were not had in our households. They were not happening on the radio frequently and in our community. So it's been a great journey to share what I've learned since 2007, 2008, and help people achieve financial freedom.
Let's back it up, man. How did you learn about investing? Let's start there.
Yeah. I had a friend, Art, who was at JP Morgan, direct report to Jamie Dimon. He called me one day. I want you to sell everything you have, and I want you to invest in these 5 companies. And I'm like, if my friend is going broke, I'm not spending $1. So I remember hanging up the phone with him. Yeah, I'm invest. Got you. And I was talking to someone watching a Colts game at the time. And then he called me 3 months later and he's like, hey, okay, it's time to liquidate. I'm leaving Morgan. I'm like, wow, you getting fired? He's like, no, like it's time to liquidate. It's cash out. At that time, I think the number's like 3.8 million he had made. So I'm looking at my account and he's telling me he's about to retire from corporate at 35.
Wow.
And from that moment, I said, I'll never miss another crash. Often we think of a crash as and it is detrimental to most people, but if you know how to take advantage of them, that's when you can produce your greatest windfall in your life. So from that moment on, I said, I'll never miss another moment in the market.
Bro, nothing more powerful than just saying, I wish I did this back in the day. Like I wish I bought Bitcoin and you know, in 2009 or this, that, and the third. And so your I wish moment came from one of your homies who effective. I'm not saying he had insider information. He just was able to get
a particular skill set that most people didn't have.
Precisely. And so when I asked who was Ian, one of the things you said is, you know, I'm just a guy from the Midwest that's now able to teach millions about investing. Let's actually kind of segue into that, right? So you learned about investing kind of from a traumatic incident, because I'm gonna call that trauma, bro.
It is.
Missing out on a bag is real trauma.
Yes,
and a lot of people don't understand that. I wish I did this, or, you know, hindsight 2020. But talk about kind of where you are today. Like, how are you, you know, how did you develop this skill set and now that you're teaching millions?
Looking at the market 12 hours a day. I think a lot of times on social, and now because finance has gotten sexy, everyone wants to give you a short blueprint. But a lot of it comes down to hard work. So I bought every book that I could. I would go to Chicago to the exchange when I could. I would learn from people who traded in the pit. I would pay for the information any way that I could. I would watch programs like yours all day. And then I started to see there were patterns between great traders, great investors. And I think we don't hunt enough for the information that'll change our lives. And I just began, like to this point, I probably have bought maybe 1,400 books on investing.
Wow.
Since 2007 to 2008.
1,300 books?
Easily. Because at the time, the information wasn't readily available. It was almost like a secret if you worked on Wall Street.
That's a fact.
People were not freely sharing this information. And that's why your show is so impactful, because people aren't getting this information every single day. So, but just looking at the market every single day. First thing I do still to this day, open up Charles Schwab, go on an account, look at the S&P 500, look at the bond market, look at NASDAQ, and then from there I start my day and look at the rest of the NASDAQ and Dow.
You know what's interesting, right? Where, you know, the new buzzword, investing and financial literacy, etc. What you have, unfortunately, is, bad actors when they get into this world,
For sure.
and quite often our community, or just anybody actually, when you get on social media, the norm, right, the ideology is, man, I'm trying to do that as well, right? And it's the fear of missing out, right? The FOMO mentality. How do you actually decipher, right, to a person that's watching this right now, how can they tell if they should take advice from a particular person on social media?
Number one, ask them to make you money for free. If I made you money, please put yes.
Put yes in the chat.
Yeah. Number two, go with your intuition. And then three, the thing that I've learned about all of us who are really good, all the people who invest well, all get along. So yourself, me, we're talking about my brother Peter Einstein on Wall Street, Josh Brown, all of us get along.
Yeah.
You may have differences in stocks, but there's a mutual respect amongst each other. Usually, if a person doesn't have respect in that circle, it's a reason why. But ask them to make you money first for free.
That's real.
That'll tell you everything that you need to know.
So I think that, when you teach investing, right, and I admire your approach because, to your point, right, you look at the market 12 hours a day, and quite so often you've done well over 10,000 hours in order to actually become a expert in this field. What do most people get it wrong?
Thinking that you need more than 4 or 5 stocks to change your life. I think because of the market has gotten so hot and so ripe, so like hymns fall apart this morning, I think too many retail traders focus on sector rotation when you need to really just pile into 4 or 5 really great companies for the rest of your life. So at the time, my friend Art, he told me to short BlackBerry, go long Apple. He bought Citi at 97 cents, Bank of America, I think at $8. Those missed opportunities probably cost me $14 to $15 million from 2007. I think 4 great trades or 4 great investments will change your life. For those who've been like Bitcoin maxis since 2013, 15, it's changed their life forever. I don't think you need 20 stocks in a portfolio to do incredibly well. And if so, you can just get an index.
That's real.
Yeah.
I love, right, when you think about some of the greatest investors, right, Warren Buffett being one.
Yeah.
His portfolio, to your point, is strong, it's concentrated, and he's letting you know,
Hyper-concentrated.
these are the companies. It's Apple, it's Coke, it's, Coca-Cola, that is. You know what I'm saying? So like, what's your most famous slogan when it comes to investing?
To buy 2 tech and 2 indexes.
2 tech, 2
Yeah,
index.
because technology companies since in our era have changed our lives forever. Like my grandmother had an Apple II. Grew up on Microsoft. And everyone thinks because they're legacy companies, they won't continue to grow. At 49% in OpenAI, that quantum chip looks really promising in the future. I don't think you need a lot of companies to do incredibly well. I think the biggest mistake we can is rotate week by week or month by month, opposed to holding decade by decade.
So to a person that's watching, right, how do you keep the noise out, right? Because you say like all you need is 4 great investments, right? But then you look and you see, to your point, some type of quantum computing stock, you see some type of new AI company, you see HIMS, you see a weight loss drug company, and this is just now, right? There'll be some more stuff, some new robotic company, right? Like, how do you stay focused and just keeping, the end game in mind?
Follow what the greatest in the world are doing. I always tell people, never listen to me. What does Buffett portfolio look like? What is BlackRock doing? Even when Bitcoin started to take off and people were saying, okay, how will it stabilize? And I've always said institutions were going to take over crypto, and they did. Go look at what the top 5 investors are doing. They're hyper concentrated. Like even OpenAI, I heard about them maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Then Microsoft came and bought 49% to have a placeholder in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
All the great companies, like even take Mark Cuban. How long did Mark Cuban hold controlling interest of the Dallas Mavericks? It wasn't 2 years.
Yeah.
Jeannie Buss and the Buss family still holds the Lakers. I don't think it's a great idea to have a equity in anything for less than 20 years. So that's how you keep the noise away. You want to marry a great stock, and it's okay to have a fling once in a while, swing trade, option trade, but for the most part, you want to hold for 20 to 30.
I love it. Yeah, I heard it, man. You got to be a long-term investor. And I think that to your point, right? Like it's so much noise, right? But with the emergence of sports betting, with the emergence of 0-day expiration
Yep.
options, right? Like we have a culture of gambling now, right? Which when you couple that with investing, it obviously can be a recipe for disaster. And so like how important is it to one, remain a long-term investor while simultaneously going through downturns and not letting that deter you?
I think the biggest reason we have a culture of gambling because we have a softening in the job market. When we were growing up as kids, there wasn't a great desire for gambling unless you were in oppressed areas like we were. But in massive America, the job market was strong, so the desire for gambling was very low. The job market is very weak now, contrary to the numbers. So that's why we've seen a spike in sports betting and trading. But any trader I ever asked, I'm like, okay, take your best parlay or your best trade. Do you wish you could have held it for 10 years? Do you wish you could have had a parlay on LeBron scoring 25 over the last 15 years? Everybody would take that trade.
That's a fact.
So I know the illusion of making more money is in trading, and I'm a futures trader, so that's I love, but you won't get paid more than holding long term. It's almost impossible to do so.
I love it.
Yeah. Even Michael Burry's great trade, 500% return. NVIDIA's return over the last 5 years has beat that 3x.
Facts.
So you have to hold for long term. As boring as it may be, all the money is in holding equities for a long period of time.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's strong. Look, guys, we got to take a quick break, but when we get back, man, we're going to have more with Master Investor, a.k.a. my dog, Ian Dunlap. All right, guys, welcome back to Financial Freestyle. And look, today we're still talking to my guy, Ian Dunlap. And one of the things you said earlier, it resonated with me, right? It's like for a person that's watching, right, you on TikTok, you on, Instagram, you on YouTube Shorts, everybody and their auntie are a new investing expert because they bought some meme coin and now they took. And so one of the things you said when I asked the question of like, how can you actually decipher if you should even take advantage, take advice from them? The first thing you said was like, one, see if they ever made you money. Can they make you money for free?
Yes.
Right. And so let's actually talk about that because you said something that, in our culture, everybody know if I made you money, put yes in the chat.
Yeah.
How have you been doing that? Let's talk about Market Mondays. Let's talk about it all, bro.
Yeah, my thing was I wanted to demystify technical analysis and what long-term companies to pick. So I was really just telling people what I would buy and the reason and why. And it turned into a phenomenon with Market Mondays. Kudos to Troy Rashad.
Yeah.
Every Monday, 7 p.m. Central on YouTube, we do the show. We're averaging probably like 120,000 views, which I'm honored to have.
Tough.
So my thing is just when I first started
10,000 live,
which is amazing.
Yeah. Tough.
But when I first started watching financial media, I would want to know, okay, Xerox, yes or no? IBM, yes or no? BlackBerry, yes or no? Schlumberger, yes or no? I get why you couldn't.
I love how when you say you first started, I'm like, you dated yourself. I'm like, why these companies? But then I thought about you talking about when you first started.
When I first started, so I'm like, okay, I hear why PetroHawk could be a great buy, but then you see the chart go down over time, and I'm like, I wish someone would just say, no, this one is good, this one is bad. So the format that we've taken was a deep education route, but I actually tell you, I like this company at this particular price, or I don't like it for these reasons, and a lot of those predictions have come true. Probably my most famous one was Bitcoin going to 20,000 from 68,000.
Facts.
But I want, and even with the people that may not be great at it, I do love the fact that so many people now more than ever are interested in investing.
Yeah.
Because 10 years ago, the interest wasn't there. And most of us wouldn't be having a conversation openly about equities. We would talk about sports or Drake versus Kendrick. But I do love the fact that at scale, almost everyone in the world now is talking about investing.
Yeah. We are seeing a new phenomenon of, right, people buying stocks, right? Obviously, right, especially, Black people. We saw that, obviously we are both at the forefront, but shout out to you and obviously Earn Your Leisure because it is on a consistent level where y'all are bringing in amazing guests.
Thank you.
Right, where y'all talking to the who's who of real life top investors. And not only that, when we talk about access to information, y'all doing it at the highest level.
And so are you. And closing the wealth gap And more African Americans are investing more than ever. Like, that's an amazing outcome of what we're doing.
Yeah. So obviously you help people make money for free, but my understanding is obviously we got Red Panda, but also, right, which is, obviously I want you to explain what Red Panda is, but my understanding you also working with athletes and entertainers, etc.
Yeah, it's been a great time. So kudos to my Red Panda sports family. Raiders, Dolphins, Bulls. Kudos to all those organizations. But the same disparities that we saw in our community, athletes are going through it as well. And there's a trust factor because they have all of this money, but no education and no system. So if you come in at 24 years old and now you're making $12 million a year, there's a lot of conversations and systems that you need to continue to have that wealth, because in the NFL, you may only play 4 or 5 years.
Bro.
And we've all heard the heartbreaking stories and had chance to talk to people about them. So my next venture is one of them is to help athletes at scale, and then also working on a book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and hopefully by next year the book could be out.
I love people who don't think they know it all. And I don't know nothing about futures. So I'm actually looking forward to a book that's going to walk me through. Obviously, I got a little different insight. I could call Ian, hey, bro,
But
I'm
no
trying
one
to
knows
get
everything.
a few ticks on this and that. But
Well, listen, as an investor, you have to learn something every day.
Every day. Can't stop learning.
No, like even those who doing the 0-day expiration trades, I always ask everyone on the quant side, what could you build on the quant side to take advantage of that momentum? Because I remember when crypto came in, it was looked at as like the stepchild of investing, and now BlackRock controlling interest in it.
Yep.
I think at one point, even that market will have some validity on the institutional side. You have to learn something every day in this market.
Can't never stop learning. Well, look, I want this next section to be for our traders, right? Because at the end of the day, right, a lot of people like your portfolio should be long-term. However, you got to have a small slither where you are trying to swing for the fences, right?
For sure.
And so to those people, what are some of your best technical indicators that you're using?
I love Fibonacci retracements. But I think, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I will, make custom retracements on your fib levels. So 100%, 78 is okay, but those aren't the real institutional levels. And the extensions to know where the market is going to go. One of my favorite one is 500%. So I know once we break a high, maybe in 4 years, we get the 5X return. Too many traders look at a shorter time frame, and I'm looking at, can I get a multiple of 5 or 7X on a company? And that's the one way you can do it.
So one, right, to the people we might have lost, right? Because Ed, when he go. Fibonacci.
Yeah.
Right. It's just
a mathematical
sequence.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is not only use, these numbers, but also put your own levels.
You have to,
those.
because if any indicator, this for every indicator. Every indicator out of the box is meant to give you an average return, not an exceptional one. So even EMAs, I like the 72-day EMA and a 400-day EMA. If we get to the 400 EMA level on a stock and you buy it, if it's a great company, the return is going to be greater than if it just reached 200-day moving average. So you have to find a way to tweak every indicator that you're working with to be able to get an edge in the market.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
But I love it because I know you're going to have something for the people. So what are your top, you always say all you need is 4. What are if I'm now, age of 20, holding for another 20 years to 40, what are the 4 investments that I should make?
Microsoft, 1. NVIDIA, 2. Anduril, which isn't publicly traded yet, number 3. And Starlink, number 4. I think Starlink probably is the most important startup that we will ever see in our lifetime.
Can you please expound?
They disrupt the internet service field, global reach. It goes into Elon's network, regardless of what you think about him personally, because I have my thoughts as well. But the ecosystem that he built, if you look at Grok, which is amazing, Tesla, Neuralink, he's building a newer version of Apple's ecosystem.
Wow.
So even when the guys were in Ghana and the internet went down, he shipped the Starlink And then one day, the country had power again.
That's
While
wrong.
he's in the office and getting government contracts, you don't think he's telling Trump, hey, let's spot these other countries. And I do think at some point, those robotics designs that he have will be deployed in war.
Whew.
So that in combination with Anduril, where Lucky was the person who brought Oculus to Zuckerberg, and they had a kerfuffle. And the thing when you don't create a product or found a product, you may not have the right roadmap for it. While they were trying to take it to consumers, I think they're going to take that same Oculus framework and a lot of AI and deploy it into the upcoming wars that we have. So we'll have like super soldiers. And I'm not pro-war, but if you can see the landscape, we have some events that we may not be able to avoid.
Yeah.
And as BRICS is getting hotter and China's getting hotter, the wars won't always be boots on ground. I think it'll be a lot of intelligence-based and AI-based solutions that would be deployed in that war. And Anduril and I think Starlink would be the greatest benefactors of that.
So as we talk about, unfortunate, but some things, like you say, is unavoidable. So what's your view on Palantir?
For the same reason, great company. I just don't know. But I think long-term, they'll do fine. Alex is a great CEO, super passionate. But I think for too long, we were building too many social media apps and apps that had no value. My biggest thesis is I only want to invest in the companies that move the GDP of America. Palantir would be one of them. I just think Anduril would personally be bigger.
I got to do more research. So, all right, as we wrap up, maybe the last question, right? If Ian Dunlap can go back and talk to a young 17, 18-year-old Ian in Indiana, what are you telling him?
Don't go on any dates. Put all your money into the market. They won't be here. Brianna won't be here. Lauren won't be here. Put all of your money into the market, my boy. Wait, life is grand now, but grander
when you got money.
Put every dollar you can into the market. Especially even in 2020, I would have borrowed money. At that point, knowing what the returns were going to be, because I've been a fan of NVIDIA since 2017. The gains I've had there were great, but I'm like, I should have borrowed some money for those kind of catalytic events. When the market went parabolic, for sure.
Ian, I can't say thanks enough.
Thank you, man.
You my
I love you dearly. I
for
appreciate
life,
you.
bro. That's it for this episode of Financial Freestyle. Like I say, big shout out, big thanks to my dog Ian for sharing his story and insight with us. And guys, y'all at home, I truly hope this helped give you something to actually think about as you continue your own financial journey. And as always, be sure to tune in next week for a brand new episode of Financial Freestyle right here on Yahoo Finance.
This content was not intended to be financial advice and should not be used as a substitute for professional financial services.